Yeah, it's 7 o'clock. Um, I'll bring the meeting of the Foxboro Board of Health to order. Looks like all the usual suspects are here. Diane, do you need me to call it out, or you got that part of it under control?
I'll stop.
Beautiful. Excellent. So it looks as
Olivia?
though, I'm sorry?
Did you
What's
mean
that?
Olivia Passafaro?
Oh, hi, Olivia. No, she has a new name.
That's all right.
She's incognito tonight. It looks like our 7 o'clock isn't here. So just so we don't have to go backwards, do you guys want to do the minutes or the bills? Anybody care to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion, but I would just say, why don't we just do the 7:30 and then see if anyone else shows up. So if we do the 7:30, Mr. Pena, you're going to have to stay on until 7:30, and if no one shows up, you're good to go. You know, right?
I think, Mr. Pena, you're 7:15.
Correct.
7:15. Sorry. So we could do the 7:15 is what I mean.
Okay.
And then you wait till 7:15, and then you leave. Sorry, I had you backwards.
Everybody comfortable with that?
All right. If anyone comes in, and we'll have to repeat the whole thing. So.
All right. That'll be on you, Eric.
Okay. I'm good.
All right. So let's see what I do with my notes for Mr. Pena. That would be this one. So, Jeff, why don't you tell us a little bit about Foxboro Nutrition?
Okay. Good evening, guys. My name is Jeff Pena, and I'm from Rhode Island. My girlfriend and myself, we have a couple of nutrition stores, just like the one we're planning on opening in Foxborough throughout the state of Rhode Island. We specialize in protein shakes, energizing teas, and we have a couple other things, protein iced coffee, things of that nature. But we are an Herbalife Nutrition Club, so we do purchase all of our products through Herbalife Nutrition. And in the past 6 years, we've been able to open 4 successful locations throughout Rhode Island, one of which is in Smithfield, very close to Bryant University. We have a great rapport with the community. We're very involved in a lot of things throughout the towns that we're established in. We're part of the Wickford Society down in North Kingston, Rhode Island, and we do a lot of events, like I said, in Smithfield at our main store. So in Foxborough, we're looking to open up a nutrition club, as we call it, where we will be making those protein shakes as well as energizing teas. We will have a traditional shake bar with about 5 or 6 seats at the bar itself, and then probably 2 little cafe-style tables off behind the bar just for people to enjoy their shakes and enjoy their teas.
Awesome. And it looks like you're planning on opening up at 50 Central Street. That's the building right on the corner of Central on the Wall. Am I right?
Correct. Yes.
Isn't there a tenant there now, or is that not?
There's no tenant there. We've occupied the building for the past couple of months. We're just waiting to pull permits so that we can start renovations. I do know that there is a barbershop directly next door that's opening. So there's been permits for that establishment pulled. And then there's somebody that will be living above me. I'm not sure if that's what you're talking in regards to, but there is a 3rd floor tenant, I believe, that rents out an apartment. And
I had actually gotten a phone call from your plumber one day last week looking for clarification on some plumbing issues, one of them being a grease interceptor in the kitchen.
So we won't have a kitchen in itself. It's almost, if you can imagine like sitting at a bar at a traditional restaurant, that's what we'll have. And on below the bar top itself will be a second countertop where we will have 4 blenders to make the protein shakes. The protein shakes are only made with ice as well as water, and then the Herbalife protein powder that we use. So we will be putting in a 3-bay sink just so that we can wash the blender after each use. But there's not going to be anything really like a kitchen per se.
How deep are the bowls in that kitchen sink? You'll have to excuse me if I put on my plumbing hat. I'm actually
not a problem.
Plumber, so how deep are those bowls?
I believe they're 18 inches wide, and I believe they're, I want to say 14 to 16 inches deep.
Right. So the Massachusetts Plumbing Code, and I know this isn't why we're here, but we may as well get it all out of the way now. So 248 CMR, the Massachusetts Plumbing Code, 10.9 to B and C are pretty clear about what dictates whether you need an interceptor or not. At this point, I realize you don't anticipate putting any fats, oils, or greases down those sinks, but just the fact that you are putting in a 3-bay sink, and the plumbing code is pretty clear that you need an interceptor. If a pot sink or a 3-bay sink or a scullery sink are any more than 10 inches deep, that's what triggers whether you need an interceptor or not. But these are going to be decisions you're going to have to make with your plumber and with the plumbing inspector in town, who is Mr. Eisenhower.
Okay.
Who was actually away this week, but you'll have to have, your plumber will actually have to have a conversation with him about the need for an interceptor. I have had this conversation with John Robertson, our health inspector. So, and Matthew, I can only assume you're up to speed on what's going on there too. You got anything to say?
I am. No, I'm in total agreement that, and it's not the health code, but it is, as an inspector, when you go in to inspect, if you don't have a grease trap, we know that it would not be up to code. And unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to sign off on any permit or anything. So just, make sure that when you do your build out, that talk to your plumber, make sure it's up to code, and that'll be part of it.
Hey, but is this one of the things? It could be a grease trap underneath, right?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be an exterior one. It just needs to be sized appropriately for the sinks.
Yeah.
And then sizing it isn't necessarily the plumber's job either. That sort of thing is usually done by a registered Massachusetts engineer that designs those plumbing plans. So I realize that you don't, at this point, you don't anticipate putting any fats, oils, or greases down that drain, but and while we hope that you're successful there and are there for a great many years, we don't have to just look out for you, but whoever turns out, if the next tenant goes in there, we need to make sure that the equipment is appropriate for the space.
Understandable. I guess the only question I would pose is, the grease traps, do you have local companies that come out and collect? I mean, I'm not going to have any grease in there, but I don't know if I need to have it serviced and things of that nature. I don't know if you guys have codes on that. I understand if I have to install it because it's code, but if it's not going to be collecting any grease itself, because I'm not using any grease products, am I going to have a company come out to sign off that they collected?
If memory serves me correct, we do have fats, oils, and greases, a program in place. So it will need to be regularly inspected, and you have to keep a log of that. But if you're indeed not putting any fats, oils, or greases down the thing, your maintenance costs should be negligible, especially if you're not putting any of those things down there. So
Okay.
you still need to have it maintained, and there has to be a log of that. But I can't imagine it will be overwhelming if you're not putting anything down there that's going to cause damage. Matt?
Yeah, no, I agree. And, we can take a look at your logs depending on, you start by servicing the grease trap more often. And then when we find out that there's no, grease in there or buildup, then we'll allow you to kind of go back a little bit on timeline, and we'll figure out what works best for your business. But, at first you want to, err on the side of caution, and then, incrementally move back slowly.
Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. Mr. Arvidon, any?
I actually had a question. So you mentioned that you were only going to be putting in that these shakes and the teas and the smoothies were only going to be the powders and water. So you're not going to be including milk or almond milks or cow milk or any of those?
No.
None of that. Okay.
None of that at all.
Okay. So you're not going to need any need for like refrigeration or?
So I am gonna be getting a refrigerator because we use in the teas itself we have Herbalife aloe concentrate, and once you open it, it is recommended to keep refrigerated. So I will have a refrigerator unit just to put the aloe in, but as for milk and any dairy products, no.
Okay. And is that the only perishable item that's going to be in the shakes?
Correct.
Okay.
All right. And
yes, and that'll be in the teas.
In the teas.
Correct.
Thank you.
Right. Jeff, Eric Arvidon. Everything that you're going to be serving comes from somewhere that's approved, licensed manufacturing facility for herbal supplements and things like that. I mean, you're not digging stuff up in your backyard, putting it in a blender and serving it. I mean, this is all stuff that is commercially available. Is that right?
Correct. Yes, everything is purchased through Herbalife Nutrition. They're a global nutrition company in business for 40 years. Everything's certified, NSF safe, gluten-free, low glycemic index. Everything is...
No, I didn't mean that. I mean, that's the right answer, I guess. But everything that you're going to be serving comes from somewhere. Like
correct,
from
yeah.
a licensed facility. It's not going to be
of course.
Stuff you dig up in the backyard and use, some grandmother's recipe, right?
Correct. Nothing from the backyard. Everything will be
That's my
licensed.
only question. Great. Okay. Well, I would say welcome to Foxborough.
Thank you.
I hope you do well.
Yeah, welcome to town. I hope your new business sounds like it's as successful as the rest of them you've got opened up. Very impressive.
That's what we're aiming for.
Matthew, have you got anything you want
to? So right now it's 7:15, almost 7:14. Has anybody else joined us? I don't see anybody on the screen that like anyone joined in. No, right? Okay. So I don't know. We're gonna have to go back.
Why don't you just stick around for a couple more minutes, Jeff? And
we do have someone on an iPhone. I don't know who that is.
Rich, are you there?
Oh, yeah, and we have Rich.
I see iPhone and Rich.
Is Frank Altieri here? No. Okay.
Oh, it's John. Hi, John.
If I could, Frank Altieri emailed me just after the meeting started.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming he's still joining.
Okay. Well, he's got a little time left. So it's 7:15 now. If there's no one here that has any input as far as Jeff Pina, the owner of Foxboro Nutrition, if there's no one that has any issues there, I guess we can cut you loose, Jeff. And thank you so much for your time. I know this is a kind of a pain in the neck, but the Board of Health likes to meet everybody that is going to be doing business in town, and we like to meet you and put eyes on you and ask you a few questions and put you on the hot seat, and mostly wish you luck.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. If you guys have any other further questions, feel free to reach out and email me. But looking forward to opening up in the town of Foxborough.
Have you pinned a date on that opening yet?
Looking for the summertime, hopefully June, July. But once we get the green light to start pulling permits and start our renovations, then we'll have a better understanding. But we're excited.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to put the Board of Health office to work for you. That's what we're here for.
Well,
when I say us, I mean John and Diane.
If you have any questions, use us as a resource.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks a bunch.
All right.
So let's see. Now it's 7:16. Camper's Kitchen is still a no-show, as far as I can tell.
Well, Mr. Chairman, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of February 22nd, 2021, as written.
I'd like to second that motion.
Okay. Anybody have any corrections or issues or anything you want to talk about on those minutes, or are they all good?
Oh, I think they're great. Diane makes us sound so intelligent.
It cannot be easy.
I mean, Olivia, sorry.
Yeah, right.
I changed my name.
Oh, good. I know.
You look like, now you're Diane. What happened there?
No, just, all right.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nice work with the minutes.
Nice. Yeah, great.
Thank you.
And while we're waiting, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the following bills.
Can we have a quick discussion about the bills? I just want to let you guys know that in a lot of cases, these bills are already approved by the time they get here, which was actually, I was informed of this. So I wanted to bring it to your attention. So I actually asked Diane this week to say review of bills, because some of these bills have already gone out and approved from the town manager. So, we can keep it on here as approving. I changed the name to review just because, we want to be honest and open about everything that we do. So, I put it as review of bills, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on that as a change moving forward.
Well, Matt, it's always been that we approve them. And I think even though it's just a timing thing, but I believe, and this is what I've always understood, that the town manager might think he can approve it, but I think it comes under the purview of the board to approve. So, they've always been paid because people need to get paid, and sometimes we'll miss a meeting or we'll skip something, or, COVID, whatever happens. So I would say we keep it as approved, just so it's on the book that we approve it. If you want to approve it, a lot of times, you pay them. I honestly,
that's why I want to ask you. You know what I mean? I want to see what you guys and it was brought up to me, so I want to, and that's why I'm bringing it here for discussion.
All right. Okay.
No, I don't. I guess personally, I don't care if we call it an approval or a review or anything, but I think it's important that they get brought up in an open meeting and gets our stamp of approval as a board, just so there's no appearance of anything nefarious going on. I'd like it to be part of our minutes and just completely open and above board as far as what we're doing with the town's money.
I completely agree.
I agree. I feel like at least it's in the minutes, and if it's approved, does it have to be approved? I don't know the legalities, but I feel like we should figure that out.
I can always do some more research and bring it back to you, like a more legal opinion. But I wanted to bring it to your attention.
It'd be interesting to see what Cheryl has to say.
Who does?
Cheryl?
Oh, yeah.
The right name? What's her name?
Yeah, Cheryl Sabara.
Thank you.
Yeah. So anyway, here we go. WB Mason for $79.46. WB Mason for $8.21. Diane Passafaro for $50. That's communications for March. That's LifeWorks Incorporated for $812.83. That's for March services. John Robertson Jr., $50 March communications. Verizon Wireless $79.98. That's for the data usage for, I don't know what month it is. It must be February. Whatever. March Health, Mass Health Officers Association $40. MHOA, and then Mass Health Officers for $60 annual membership. The $40 was for a conference, and the MHOA annual membership was $60, and that's the extent of the minutes. The bills. Sorry.
Thank you, Eric.
And I'm seconding those minutes. No, bills.
Anybody have any questions or concerns with these invoices? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I do have a comment. Matt, you're not on that. You are? Did I see you on it?
What was that?
I didn't see your name on there for the communications. Is it too early for you, or are you going to be doing that?
I am going to be doing, that's a long story that we probably don't have to have here.
Okay,
yeah.
That's fine. Okay, I just want to, Okay, perfect. Okay, let us know if we can help you. All right.
Okay.
All right, cool. All right. What's next, Mr. Chairman?
Well, it's a little too early, unless you want to get started with the 7:30 thing, and if we have to, we can back it up. It doesn't look like anybody from Camper's Kitchen is going to be joining us this evening. There's no one on here from Mr. Wilcox or Camper's Kitchen? Anybody? Nothing?
Hi, it's John. I sent him an email a moment ago. I haven't heard back from him from Camper's Kitchen.
Okay. When's the last time, excuse me, when's the last time anybody talked to him?
John, again, I spoke to him before the weekend. He asked what tonight's meeting entailed, and we had some communication about that.
Okay. Well, I can only assume he doesn't plan on opening up in the next couple of weeks, judging by the temperature today. So why don't we get started with the Taste of Foxborough? If any of the folks from help me out with the name of the brewery. I'm having a brain cramp.
Shoveltown Brewery.
Thank you. Glad you're there.
Actually, I'm by myself. The other two should be joining shortly. I know we're a little early.
Well, we can wait for them if you'd rather. That's not a problem.
I'd rather wait. Thank you.
No worries at all. Matthew, do you have any updates you want to?
I have some discussions that we could go over. One thing I was going to bring to the board's attention was the cease and desist. I emailed you before. So there was a food service out of a residential home that we received a complaint from the department, from DPH, food protection program regarding. We sent out that cease and desist notice. We didn't really hear much back from the resident. So John and I posted a notice on the door, and then after posting the notice, I did have a long conversation with the individual who, promised to cease and desist operations. Had some other questions about starting a home business, a cottage food business, and had some questions about actually opening up her own business. So, as of right now, it looks like case is closed unless we find out that, the business is moving forward. Then I'll bring it back up to your attention. But as of now, it looks like they're following the health department's order.
Matt, what was the complaint? Was the complaint just that they were running a kitchen or that there were some issues?
The complaint was from the food protection program. So they gave us some Facebook postings, some other advertisements where they, posted food for sale. And it wasn't just, baked goods, things that you could already do in a home. I mean, we're talking shepherd's pie and, things that, you have to do in a commercial kitchen. It's not allowed to do in a home setting. So that's why, after we received it, we sent out the notice, and it was brought to our attention through DPH. So it wasn't from a community member or anything. So I'm not sure how they received the complaint, but she said it was valid after I talked to her. So, hopefully that one is done, and I'll keep everyone up to date.
Okay, and you don't think we need to have that person come in front of the board?
No, not unless there's an issue. I mean, I think if there's an issue and they don't do what they say, yes, I'll bring them, I'll ask them to come to the board, but,
Okay, all right, perfect.
What else you got, Matt?
Moving on. So I wanted to let you all know too, so I reached out to the Academic Public Health Volunteer Corp, which is actually, it's local colleges, and they have a program, and it's basically a consortium of faculty and staff, and they have public health students that have to do community hours. And I had an idea of, well, why not those students do a health assessment on the town of Foxborough? I thought it'd be a great idea as me coming in as a new director of public health here to kind of have a health assessment of the current state of health for Foxborough that we can all look at together to kind of drive, what the health department does moving forward. As talking to Betsy, when, during my interviews, it was, she wanted to see data. So, I'm going to work with some students to get you some real data, and, whether it be done here or whether it be done, through Foxborough Cable, we'll set something up and have them present to the town. So I just wanted to let you know I was working on that.
Sounds like a great program. Thanks.
And then I'm also working on a public health excellence grant right now. So there's a big grant, and it's basically for shared services with other communities. So right now, the town of Foxborough, Easton, Mansfield, Norton, and Sharon, we sent out a letter of intent saying we intend to apply. We're hoping that, we can get some more services and kind of start improving the services that everyone gets by kind of bolstering our inspectional services and nursing situation for all the towns together. So just wanted to let you know that is on the horizon where, we're going for the grant. Who knows if we get it, but it's a lot of money. It's up to $300,000 for, for a regional collaborative. So we're going to give it all we have to get it.
That's great. $300,000 should just about cover the board member's salary.
And then I have a weekly COVID update I can read. Currently, the town of Foxborough is in the yellow category. The town's average daily incident rate is moderate. which is lower, but it's lower than last week. In addition, the percent positivity rate's moderate, 2.69%, which is almost a 1% drop compared to this time last week. The Massachusetts Department of Public Health reports as of March 11th, a total of 2.28 million vaccinations have taken place within the state. At this time, all groups in phase 1, as well as groups 1 through 3 in phase 2, which include early education, K through 12 workers, are now eligible to receive vaccine. The next eligible group within phase 2 of the state's vaccination plan is transit, utility, food, agriculture, sanitation, public works, and public health workers. Information for these workers' timeline is forthcoming. However, the Biden-Harris administration is ordering states to allow all adults to be eligible to receive vaccine by May 1st. A pre-registration system for mass vaccination sites is now available online, and this tool is available at www.mass.gov/COVID vaccine. Pre-registration will allow eligible residents to book an appointment at one of the state's 7 mass vaccination sites. Eligible residents will complete the online form at mass.gov/COVID vaccine to request and book the appointment at a nearby mass vaccination site. Then after completing the form, they'll get confirmation via their preferred method, text, email, or phone, and receive weekly updates about when that appointment will happen. And again, if you don't have access to a computer and you need help filling out forms, you can always call 211. The state is providing vaccination days for educators. So Saturday, March 27th, April 3rd, Saturday, April 10th, and Sunday, April 11th. Workers in K through 12 school staff can go to a mass vaccination site one of those days and be able to get vaccinated. Currently, the state is in step 2 of phase 3 of the Massachusetts reopening plan. Provided public health metrics continue to improve, effective on March 22nd, all communities in Mass will move into step 1 of phase 4, which actually on Friday, they just released some of the new reopening guidelines for that phase. So it does seem like things are moving forward, and it looks like we'll be moving into phase 4 pretty soon. So that's good news. And that's what I have for discussion.
So impressed that you read all that from memory. That's really impressive.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right, now that we're into the 7:30 time slot.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, John.
I have just heard from Kari from Camper's Kitchen. So he'll be trying to join us if he can get in after Shoveltown.
I don't see that as a problem. Anybody else have any? No.
None for me.
Excellent. All right, so let's see. James is here. Are you still waiting for Frank, or?
We're still waiting for Frank. I'll give him a few more minutes, but if you want to get started, I have Con O'Kelly, who's our executive chef with us. Matt, you should have everything Frank sent over. I know what the subject matter is. So.
Yeah, I mean, I have it all here. So I don't know how you guys want to do it. I don't know if you want to. It's quite a bit, so I don't know if you want to read it into the record, but or if you just want to go over what you're doing and how you're going to do it. You know, everyone, this is unique because it's outdoors, and that's why I wanted to bring this to you early.
I'm glad you did. I've got a long list of questions. Hopefully, maybe answer most of them before we get to it.
And just so you know, this isn't, so John and I, we did have a chance to look at some of their plans, and we asked them to make some changes. And, you know, Frank, Mr. Altieri was, you know, he was on board. He said he would be glad to make those changes in regards to the facility. So, you know, as long as, you know, they continue to make the changes that we need, and they have a successful inspection beforehand, they would be good to go for us. But because it's so unique, we figure, yeah, let's get your input as well before we get going.
That seems prudent. So, James, you want to give us a quick?
We're going to be doing what they call the Taste of Foxborough. It's going to be a pop-up food and beer. And I know the plans we sent over. I was trying to get Frank. He texted me, he doesn't have the link. I can't believe he doesn't have the link, but he's actually the one that's put together most of the plans. I don't know if Connor, you work with Frank to put together. I don't know if you want to chime in a bit for what we're doing with the food trailers and.
Yes. Hello, I'm Connell. So what Frank and I and Jim have kind of decided was with the Board of Health kind of giving us some guidance was a trailer that is kind of hardwired and hard plumbed. And then we'll have one trailer and that will have beer in part of the food. And then we'll do another trailer that will have pizzas in it to be able to cook pizzas out of it. But they will be, like I said, hardwired and hard plumbed. And so we hope that will meet all of the criteria that the Board of Health and inspections, give us. Everything is going to be kind of stored on site mostly with adequate refrigeration to meet everything. And so it's for the food side, it's 2 trailers. And yeah.
So let me just start off with that part of it. Hi, Frank.
No, you're on mute.
You have to unmute yourself, Frank.
Sorry, for some reason on my computer that link was throwing up a security error, so I couldn't get through it.
Well, we were trying to keep you out of the meeting, but
okay,
spoiled our plans.
Sorry about that.
We were just reading for the record what we were doing. I started by explaining what we're doing with the Taste of Foxborough. Connell was explaining some of the trailers, but you would be best because you were working with Matt and put together most of the information.
Yeah, so just to review, I think you probably have seen the site plan. On the site plan, we had the intention to have about 150 seats or so, all with the necessary COVID spacing and those type of meeting all the requirements for that. The plan was for an equipment trailer or a food trailer to be fully outfitted with all the necessary equipment to do cooking. We also, based on the plan, would have that food truck and the associated pizza truck connected to the sewer. So we would have sewage, it would be directly connected to the sewage and also to the water lines. We also had provisions for hand sinks and also a mop sink that we're planning on putting external to the trailer, so so that we can also dump liquids like leftover beers and that kind of stuff, and then also for the to meet the mop sink requirement, that also would be connected to the water and to the sewer. Let's see what else.
So let me just, before we get, so is this trailer coming like pre-assembled, pre-plumbed, all that good stuff? Like what?
Yeah, exactly. It's pre-assembled, pre-plumbed. It's in the process of being constructed right now. The hood and the cooking implements are being installed, but it was already in use by Yasso as their trailer that they had for going to shows and different stuff. It has a built-in walk-in cooler in the back section of it, and then in the front section, or I should say, depending on how you look at it. In one section, it has a built-in walk-in cooler, and the other section is where the equipment will be outfitted in, along with a hood and a fire suppression system. There, I don't know if you have the whole package of documents that we've submitted, but in one of the addendums to that package includes a kind of a schematic drawing of the trailer itself.
Yeah, no, I don't have that.
Me neither.
So I guess on my list of questions, and
Sure.
we'll start with your trailer, is so you say there'll be running water and it's going to drain into the city sewer that's over in that part of town. Is that right?
That's correct.
And so you say you're going to be washing some ware there, some
minor washing. Anything heavily soiled or will be returned to the commissary kitchen and cleaned there.
So where is this commissary kitchen?
In Easton at Shoveltown Brewery.
So I was on the phone with the folks at the Board of Health in Easton, and so
Yep.
for you to be a commissary or that sort of thing, apparently you need a catering license. John, does that ring true to you, Matt? So anyways, the guy Mark I talked to in the Easton Board of Health said,
Okay.
because I asked him, we were talking about where your food was going to come from, and they assumed it was going to come from Shoveltown and Easton. And he mentioned the fact that no one has applied for a catering license as of right now. So
he would be cooking here, so we would be giving him the permit. If he cooked food in, Easton and prepared it for one private event, then he would need a catering permit. But because he's meeting the code for a full-time food establishment, so he has to meet the code of a full-time food establishment, because he goes over the 14-day mark. Basically anything 14 days or under, it's a temporary food. He's going to be operating for more than 14 days, so he's going to have a full food permit through the health department. So he needs everything that a regular restaurant would.
So there'll be no preparation for this operation in Foxborough going on in Easton?
Well, we had put together a schedule where that was part of the package that we submitted that discussed how we plan to prepare the food. And the plan was for food to be prepared in Easton, some of it, yes.
All right. Well, we'll have to, well, I'm sure Diane's keeping track of all my dopey questions. So that's great. So we know where the food's coming from. We'll deal with the catering part of it if we need to. Back to the running water in the trailer. So it's going to drain into the city sewer over there. I assume if you're going to have a mop sink, a floor drain, any sort of scullery sink or a pot sink in this trailer, that the trailer is already equipped with some sort of interceptor.
I don't know if he's frozen.
I don't know if it's me or him or Paul.
We did take a look at the plans. We did have him, hooked to, one of the major concerns was him hooking to sewer. So they've decided to do that. It did, the plans had a 3-bay. It did have a grease trap. So it met all those requirements. It did not have a mop sink, and we have asked him to add a mop sink to that, as well as an additional hand sink, to make it meet the code requirements.
All right. Well, we'll let the plumbing inspector worry about all the appropriate fixtures going into the interceptor. Just full disclosure, I'm actually one of the plumbing inspectors in town, so it may or may not fall on me to deal with that. So, and you guys have already dealt with the hand sink situation?
Yes, sir.
And there'll be plenty of access for the servers and the preparers for these hand sinks?
That's correct, yeah. And the trailer has a hand sink, and then the preparers will each have a hand sink. In the 2 trailers will both have hand sinks, and there'll be a hand sink near the serving area for the beer, which will provide, the servers will have access to that.
All right, sounds good. So far, so good. You guys plan on doing any takeout over there?
No, takeout wasn't something we were planning to do.
Awesome. Scratch that one off. I'm a little concerned about the condition of the parking lot. I drove through it today. It's bone dry and it's dusty. I don't know where you plan on parking.
Well, if you look at the site plan, you'll see.
Like I said, I don't have the site plan, so I don't
Yeah.
know why we don't have that. But
yeah, there was a pretty extensive package that we submitted that included a lot of detail and a write-up, a brief, as well as a bunch of drawings and a schedule for the menu preparation, as well as a menu. Kind of the menu wasn't the final menu, it's just to give you an idea of what we had in mind. We did talk to Doug King's guys about the surface that was there. That material hasn't been compacted yet, and that is in the plan, but it is crushed concrete that is equivalent to what was kind of asked for by the Board of Health. By the building department also. And Sam believes that once it's compacted that that it won't be an issue, and it drains really well, so it shouldn't be a problem with dust mitigation or with the compaction.
And I'll just say that in the food code, it does specifically say like a crushed stone material for a parking lot is acceptable, or for food outside food service sort of.
So what's there now doesn't appear to be crushed concrete. It appears to be stone dust. So I don't know if that's going to make a difference. I'm not trying to be difficult. We've had conversations about outdoor seating and dust getting kicked up by vehicles. So I know it's come up in the past.
I'll just say one thing too. I mean, and that's, the original concept of this was more outdoor ovens and pizza ovens and things like that. And that's why we have brought everything inside. Everything's going to be contained inside these two trailers that are going to be retrofitted. So just so you're aware.
Okay. I think I feel like we're operating at a bit of a disadvantage by not having all of the materials, Matt.
Yeah, and I apologize for that. I get it.
I get it that you're making decisions, but as a board, we generally like to be a little more involved in all of these decisions and discussions.
If I could just, my apologies. It was my understanding it was a new establishment, so I didn't realize that generally with new establishments, I don't include the plan reviews, the whole packet. So my apologies for not having that in there.
That's fine. I'm not trying to make a fuss. I just feel like some of the questions I'm asking have already been asked and answered. So I feel like I'm at a bit of a disadvantage by not having all of the material.
We're more than happy to go over anything that you'd like to discuss. I mean, that's why we're here tonight. So
sure.
Not an issue.
I get it. So the next thing on my list is and I don't know if you guys have discussed this and dealt with it already. I apologize if I'm repeating stuff that you guys have already covered. So there's something on your proposal about 4 temporary food tents for visiting.
So so those, if that did, that isn't a deal killer. That was something that we proposed early on to involve potentially other Foxborough businesses if they wanted to be part of it. They would, in that model, they would have to come in front of you and get a temporary food permit.
Perfect. That's where I was going. Nice job. And secondly, there's a lot of, not a lot, but a fair number of residential housing units in very close proximity to this thing. Is there some sort of thing in the code about notifying abutters about this thing? Matthew?
Point of view for the town.
So it's not, I know this is going to be, there's an alcohol permit with this. So there'll be a Board of Selectmen meeting, I believe, regarding this to be permitted for alcohol. But, you know, here today, we're just talking about the food service aspect of it.
But Mr. Stevens, to answer your question specifically, there is a public hearing being held, as Matt said, about the alcohol permit, and through that public hearing meeting, all the abutters get notified.
That's all I needed to know.
So on that note, you also mentioned in the plan or in the proposal that there was going to be potentially live entertainment. It looks like up until 8 p.m. And you mentioned that you're probably going to be expecting somewhere around 150 or so people. So I'm thinking, how are we, 150 people plus alcohol and food, in the summertime, and you guys are expecting that you'll be able to keep that under control when you do have neighbors close by?
Yeah, so on the plan, on the updated site plan, which we're planning to submit, and I believe on the site plan that we did submit, shows that that there's some trees that are being put in along the boundary line between the neighbors and that. Doug King actually owns a couple of the neighboring properties that are there, so those are properties that he owns. So he's also the landlord for the spot, so he's aware of what's going on. But we did ask for entertainment. We know that artists out there are really struggling. They haven't been able to play for over a year, and there's a lot of great artists out there. And the other thing is we were hoping that potentially we could help Foxborough teams like cheerleading and other teams that wanted to come out and perform on, say, a Saturday afternoon, have an opportunity to do so in front of an audience. So that's why we did ask for the entertainment license. In Easton, we have an entertainment license. We typically keep it to one or two musicians playing light instruments. We don't plan to have a full-on rock band there, blowing out the place like Foxborough Stadium or something like that. We felt that entertainment would be an opportunity for us to get some of these artists back and allow them to play and make some money, make some livelihood.
I think that's an excellent idea. I can't praise you enough for having that insightfulness. The only reason I bring it up, and I know this is what Betsy's rationale was as well, is a lot of times there's noise complaints and that sort of thing, and it doesn't always make its way to the selectmen where it should go. A lot of times it winds up in the Board of Health office. So I think as a board, we're just trying to avoid getting in the middle of an argument that's really not our thing. So I guess we'll just have to hope the selectmen ask all the right questions.
Yeah, can I ask a question, Frank? Just
sure.
I'm just walking down the street and I walk up to I see like what's going on there, and I walk in. What will you just explain to me what I'm going to do? I'm going to walk in and do what? I'm going to drive in or walk down the street and what? Have a beer? There's going to be pizza there. Exactly. What's my experience?
What we intend is to have a atmosphere that's, an outdoor atmosphere where people are enjoying themselves. There's music, there's food, there's beer that's available. Hopefully there's entertainment too, some types of entertainment. We definitely want to put in lawn games like cornhole and that kind of thing. Kind of not very active like football games, but certainly things for people to do. And in the most part, you'll see people socializing and enjoying beer and food.
Okay.
And I didn't know if you were coming at this from another angle where could you just walk in from any side, and that's not the case.
No. I mean,
okay, that's
my experience. I want to come for a beer. I can sit down at a bar, or I sit at a picnic table. You would
sit at a picnic table. According to the current guidelines, we would honor those. It's maximum 6 people to a table, 1 party per table. There would be service. So a server would come, take your order, and return your food and beverage.
And can I just add one thing? And Frank, just, remember that there's more guidelines than just food service. So there's also guidelines for singing and performances and
of course
games. So just remember to take that all into consideration. And we're moving into phase 4. So things are changing. And I know with performances right now, it's a 25-foot buffer between the person singing and the audience. So, just be aware of the changes, and you're going to have to react to that as things move forward.
Yep, I understand.
One other question, Frank. Sorry, Mr. Chairman. So this is all outdoor venue. We have trailers, I hear. After I drink a beer or two, I gotta go to the facilities. What kind of facility? What's that going to look like?
It's we're looking at a trailer type restroom area, so you would be entering the trailer.
So
there would be handicap. There would be also a handicap accessible restroom facility.
So this is a nice trailer, not like 2 porta johns side by side kind of thing. Is that right?
I don't have a picture of the trailer yet. I will make sure it is the nicest one we can get.
Okay, I see. And that would be permanently on. I mean, that's.
It'll be connected to the water
and the sewage line. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
These aren't going to be porta potties. They're going to be a row of bathroom trailers. Correct.
Well, I have to tell you, I have seen. I'm excited because I think this is going to be nice. I've seen this venue elsewhere, and it really works well. You can tell me, you can ask me if you want to know where I've seen it, but it's been done at another brewery, so it's not yours.
Thank you. Yeah, we want to make sure we want to, it's in all of our best interest to make this as accommodating and hospitable as possible. So, we're putting our name out there, and we're not, we're going to be in Foxborough as a permanent part of your community. So we don't want to do anything that's going to jeopardize our relationship.
Yeah, the pop-up, once again, is a precursor to our fire station project coming. So that's why we're going to, we've set it up. We call it Taste of Foxborough. We'll comply with what we need to comply with, but it's all going to be about the community of Foxborough.
I'm sorry, Miss. Go ahead.
Sorry, I just have one comment. I know when we're talking about bathrooms, one thing that gets forgotten is, especially if it's like a porta potty or shared space, but bathroom, those get forgotten to be cleaned regularly, especially with COVID. So if we can have, I don't know if that's in the plan or not, I missed that. So if we can kind of keep an eye on that, because that's something that people might not remember to sanitize before and after they use. They might remember to wash their hands, but they might not be sanitizing that one as like a cleaning space.
We'll make sure we take care of that. We do it. We have a policy and procedure in Easton, and we'll certainly carry that over.
Yeah, we have a log that the bathrooms get cleaned sanitized once an hour and initial, so COVID compliant.
Thank you.
Mr. Arvidon, any more questions? Betsy, good?
The answer is no. I think this is, moving forward. I do know that John and I assume Matt will be very helpful if we can, and again, we want it to be successful in Foxborough. We hope you want to be successful for your brewery and all that, your name. But we want it to be, people say, hey, I went to a great venue in Foxborough, and that's what we care about. So, with the COVID's going to be over soon, pretty soon. So we're all going to be back to normal. But and you guys are going to make us proud. So that's good.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Yep.
Thank you, guys.
Matt, any more questions from you? Anything?
No questions, but if the board would like, I mean, I apologize for not having that information on there, but I can forward the plans to you, and feel free if you have anything you want me to share with them. Later I can absolutely reach out on your behalf. So tomorrow you can expect me to send you those plans.
Awesome. John?
You could send that to our chairman. I'm good.
Okay.
If he doesn't have any questions, he's the smartest man in the room. So if he doesn't have any questions.
Oh, Eric, you're making me blush. Yeah. John, you got anything?
Nope. We've gone through the plans and gave them our concerns, and they've addressed everything we've brought up.
Awesome. Diane? All right, gentlemen, I can't thank you enough for your time tonight. You've been very helpful and very straightforward. I appreciate it. And as a board, we wish you the best of luck with this thing. And I'm sure you should anticipate seeing all three of us there at some point individually, not together. That way we don't want to break any rules. So.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
So, John, do you think we're going to hear from?
Looks like he might just have popped on.
Yeah, it looks like he's on there.
Great. Mr. Wilcox, are you there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I don't see you.
All righty. How's everybody doing?
Great. So you're taking over the food service operation at Normandy Farms.
Yes, I am.
Excellent. Do we have that menu here, guys? Oh, yeah, there it is. Eric, you want to start us off while I look at this menu?
Hold on.
It's a big menu there. It's a lot more comprehensive than I think the past folks who have been running the kitchen up there at Normandy. Would you?
Well, I don't want folks to get bored.
No, they're not going to be with this menu. I may have to start hanging out at the campground.
So should I be expecting a visit from you this summer to enjoy some of this food?
You never know when one of us is going to show up.
So in the past, I mean, the way our chairman just kind of made a little joke, but it's not really a joke in that this was a small camper's kitchen and with a limited menu, and it was limited facilities. Right. And now, your menu is doubled or tripled. And my concern is, how do we make sure that the facilities will be able to handle it? Not so much, in a safe manner, as if you could just go over that. It seems like you have a lot of varied items. How are you going to keep hold of that in your little camper's kitchen kind of thing?
Well, to you it may be little and stuff, but to me it's a nice sized kitchen. Just a little bit about myself. Over the last 8 to 10 years, I worked for Compass Group, Rita's Catering, which has the same cafes as the Compass Group. And I've been running those cafes, also the cafes on the Boston Harbor Islands. So I'm used to the setup, and I'm used to pushing out food, a lot of food, and taking care of a lot of customers between 11 and say 3 o'clock and doing about $4,000 or $5,000 in sales. So this is something that I'm comfortable with, and I kind of put a system in place to be able to go ahead and handle that volume and still put out good product and great customer service.
No, I get that, but so how are you? You know, it's a fairly small facility, and you have, you know, breakfast menu, so you have to store everything for breakfast, and then I've seen you have a lunch and dinner menu with 2 pages, and then you have ice cream, and you have, I mean, it's a whole big. There's a lot of stuff going on there.
So for the breakfast, over the past several years, breakfast has been the slowest. You know, so the breakfast is not an issue at all. I'm talking about nothing. You're always going to have bacon, you know, on hand and stuff throughout the day. Sausages, the eggs, you know, potatoes, everything's going to be cooked to order. A lot of these items are going to be frozen items. So it's going to go from freezer to on the grill or freezer to the fryer later. Also, a lot of these items also, they kind of piggyback off each other. So if you notice and stuff, like someone for the lunch items, I might have a meatball sub, but then I got the Italian trio that also calls for meatballs. You know, or I have chicken fingers that I also can go ahead and use for a chicken finger wrap. So a lot of the things, though, when I put the menu together, I made sure I'm not going to have very little to nothing at all for waste.
And then the next thing, Mr. Wilcox, who's going to work for you? Traditionally, you know, the campground has had high school students working, you know, summer job kind of thing, and our concern is not to give the young kids a chance, but to do it in a safe manner and have someone that's always going to be able to be there to supervise, who is serve safe or safe, you know, COVID safe, trained, you know, so that the kids don't get in trouble, that you know, I mean, all that. So can you explain how you're going to do the training, who you're going to hire and stuff?
Yep. So I do have some teenagers that will be working for me. They're going to be working in front of the house, so they're going to be taking care of the cashiering and also the ice cream. I have older folks that's working in the back of the kitchen that are safe serve and allergy and everything else. I also do have a manager who's going to be coming on board. He's actually already involved, and he has over 20 years experience. So he's going to be there if I'm not there. So it's always going to be kind of a senior supervision going on over the teenagers. They will never be in the back actually cooking any other food. They will mainly just be in front, just taking orders, interacting with the customers.
So, Mr. Wilcox, so I'm gleaning from what you're saying, you can assure us that there'll always be someone there who's serve safe, certified.
Always. This is something I just want you folks to understand. This is a dream of mine. And I came very far and worked very hard to make this happen. I refuse to fail. You know, so I'm telling all of you that there's always going to be somebody that's going to be supervising the teenagers. There's never going to be a time that you're going to walk in there and there's no supervision going on. Absolutely not.
Well, that's good to hear.
Okay, good. Well, I wish you the best, and you know, you'll be able to maybe see me down there. I live in the area, so I might come for breakfast, even though because you said it's slow.
Well, listen, I look forward to seeing everybody. I want you guys to come on out and try some of that good food that I'm offering to everybody. You know, and just come on down and just take a peek for yourself just to see how I'm running everything. So you can actually be comfortable and know that, you know what, Chef Korea is down there doing a great job. He's on top of everything.
Nice. Okay.
That's what we like to hear.
Yes,
Chef
sir.
Korea. Nice.
John, any issues going over there?
So I've gone down and done a pre-operational inspection, and actually we had the same conversation about supervising the staff. So I don't have concerns at this time.
Excellent. Matt, any concerns?
No concerns. Nope.
Excellent. Betsy, all good?
And for me?
Excellent. Well, Mr. Wilcox, I can't tell you how excited we are to have you doing something in town for us. It's going to be great having someone up there.
Thank you.
Care of all those campers in town. There's nothing we like better than to hear around town that someone had a great meal in Foxborough, whether it's in the center of town, up at the stadium, or over at the campground.
Well, you know, I'm looking forward to putting out all that great food and stuff. So when folks go back home and stuff, they can say, you know what, we was down in New England, went to Normally Farms to have some great food at Tasty Tips Catering. So I'm looking forward to all the greatness.
Awesome.
Great.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for
no problem. Thank you.
Taking the time to join us. We really appreciate it.
Anytime.
All right. Good night. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, sir. All right. Matt, did you have any more updates for us other than I think you left off with the COVID update?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I don't think I have any more updates for you. I'll have more in the next couple of weeks.
Sure.
Hey, Matt, can I bring? I just want to bring something up for you. Welcome, of course, welcome on board. And this is not to make your job any harder. Okay, so I don't mean to like burden you with this, but my thought was, you know how you give us the weekly COVID report?
Yep.
You know, that's a lot of that stuff is from the state. You know, what we're in. My thought is more like what's going on in our town. You know, so tonight you said, yeah, we're in 3.6%, or we in the yellow kind of thing. You know, and that comes out from Tom. But you know what's happening in our town. So this past week we had a clinic. We had blah blah blah. You know, we had the issues that we dealt with, COVID related, and then other issues. You know, John went out and did a bunch of inspections, and you know, here's what the hot topics are of this week. You know, and it doesn't have to be a 7-page paper, but it's, you know, Camper's Kitchen came in and we're going to be talking with them at the next meeting. Great. And then the next piece is, you know, what's happening in the future. So, you know, we had Camper's Kitchen come in and then John's going to go out and, you know, he still has to do the final inspection, you know, so a little blurb on what's happening today, what happened this past week. Simple, you know, 1 page, just, you know, and it doesn't have to be every single thing, but it's, you know, just a, you know, a thumbnail of, you know, we did a bunch of stuff, especially COVID related. You know, we had clinics, we had complaints, we had, you know, this and that. And then next week we plan to do more of the same. Or when the thing changes, we've been getting calls because now we're going to new phase. We're going to like be working with the new group. You know what I mean? So.
No, and I hear you. And a couple of things on the COVID, the COVID aspect of everything. You know, it's been harder for us to get vaccine as of March 1st. Secretary Sutters, you know, basically said the Board of Health isn't going to be able to get vaccine like they once did. They're funneling it through the mass vaccination sites. So the mass vaccination sites are getting most of the vaccine that's available. I did tap into 2 small pots of vaccine. One, we're working with the Housing Authority, and it's actually for low-income senior residential homes, so housing development. So we're getting some vaccine in the future for that, as well as we started so there's a homebound vaccination that the state a state 1-800 number they're starting, and anyone that's homebound is going to be referred to the local Board of Health, and we'll go out and Tom will go out to get those people vaccinated. I do not have access to Maven at this point, so Maven is the local numbers, and that's why I've been presenting with the data that is state driven and that we get from the state. It's reproducible. People can get it at home. And, you know, as of right now, because Tom is a nurse and there are HIPAA laws, you know, that Tom has access to that. So you know, with the kitchens, you know, my goal was to bring those up to you today. But if you'd like me to start including those, that's fine. I can include those in a weekly email. And if John has any inspections, I can also put those in as well. Again, this is all learning for me.
But I don't mean everything that you're doing. I'm just saying, look, we got COVID, here's the hot things in COVID. Yeah. Here's the things that we did this week. No issues with any of our inspections. John went out and did a bunch of inspections, no issues. Or, yeah, there's a couple issues that we have to do follow-ups to. So if we have any questions, we'll ask you or we'll ask John. Just what's happening. Yeah, I think it's hard when we only have a meeting every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and we meet over the phone, and then and people call us and they say, "Hey, what's this all about?" We're like,
it kind of like Eric said, we don't need, I don't want to call it the day-to-day drivel, but like, for instance, a couple weeks ago when I mentioned to you about keeping the board up to date on stuff because of, I noticed that Starbucks was closed, or someone mentioned it to me. I mean, it's those little surprise things that as a board, we don't like to be.
No.
I know you were surprised as well when we talked.
Yeah, I was.
But, like that. And if John comes across something in an inspection that is a red flag or there's critical violations, I just think as a board, we like to know those things.
And I've been here a month, and the 2 times that those type of issues, once was the cease and desist letter, and the other was when we went to the place on 140 there, the Hindu mosque, and we had to write a violation notice to them. So nothing has risen that I thought to a level that I would have to, that I wanted to get you involved. But if you want more, I can.
I just want to make it clear that we're thrilled to have you on board. As a board, we're sure you're the right man for the job. We're thrilled with the job you're doing so far. It's just, we just for years now. Eric, how many years you've been on the board? 74, 75? We just like to feel like we're part of the team, and we feel like we need to be part of the team. I realize things change, things evolve, but the way we've all been doing it for so long is we're part of the process.
I agree, and don't think I'm holding anything back from you, but
no. I'm just making the suggestion. I'm not saying that at all. Making the suggestion.
Right. Yeah. No, I understand, but I just want to let you know anything that I thought that you should know about that the health. I had to sign an order. I've sent out to you. But
at the end of the week, so you sent us that long email, and that takes a lot to type up into. Yeah. Right. So that most of that stuff comes from the state, and we get I listen in to the DPH calls on Tuesdays and Fridays. So I get all that stuff. Honestly, I don't want to be selfish and say, well, I don't really care about that, but I know all that stuff, or I've been hearing that stuff. I'm more interested in what's happening in our town. We have extra positives. I like that when I hear from when I get that information from Tom. It's not the state. It's just what's happening in our town, and just mention a one sentence, half a sentence, doing this, and this, and again, like I said, I don't want to make your job harder, but I think you're working too hard on the other. You're making this long, big thing. We don't need, that you're spending too much time. You know what I mean? It's like, just keep it local. I mean, what I'm saying is, what's happening in our town? Nothing went on this week that we need to worry about. Great. That's perfect. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
no, I understand. I do that weekly, and one, it's for the COVID report. The town manager does. So I try to put information on that we need to share with the public regarding COVID. So I try to make it informative, and if you want your update to be department oriented, point taken, and we can do that.
Well, let's try it anyhow. And for my second, I don't know if that's 2 or 3 or 5, but my next thing is, at the end of every week, I would like the Board of Health, the health office, I would like you, Matt, to come up with a recommendation on COVID-related issue. So, for instance, I'd like you before you, I'd like the office to make the recommendation to the town manager, and I would like to have the chairman at least hear what you have to say. So, for instance, our numbers are doing well. We still feel that COVID, in-office meetings should be on hold, and we should do remote if we can. And then have Paul take a look at that and say, okay, and then you present that to the town manager. He can do what he wants. He can say, you don't know, we're not going to go with it. But every week, at least for now, I'd like to say, look, we're getting better, and then our numbers are lower. We think we can start having more in-person meetings or change, as we're evolving. I don't think it's the job of the town manager to make those determinations, especially where you have so much expertise, we have so much expertise in that related. We want to keep everyone safe, and we're listening to the science. Do you know what I mean? So if you say, look, the governor is relaxing a bunch of stuff. Well, maybe in Foxborough we don't need. You make a recommendation that no, we should still keep all of our meetings, remote, and let's Paul see that, and then present that in a little memo to our town manager at the end of the week. Here's my recommendation for the next week.
I can tell you that that's actually already been asked of me. So the town manager asked me to put together some recommendations. There's a Board of Selectmen meeting tomorrow. I believe it's going to be discussed at that meeting. I did take the Massachusetts reopening guidelines, made some recommendations. Basically, the recommendation for the gala room will be that no more than 12 people can be in the gala room. We made the recommendation that, it would be up to the board chair, whether if they wanted to have in-person meetings or through Zoom, but Zoom would have to be, used in a manner because we don't want, people to have to come to, the meetings if there's going to be an overage in the room. We have to keep people safe. So I think the recommendation was Zoom should stick around. But if the committee wants to meet in person, that would be up to the committee chair. I can send you the memo and the recommendations that I put together, and that will be discussed tomorrow.
I think I would like to see something at the end of every week based on the numbers that we have in our town and the numbers, and then have Paul review it, and then just a memo. Okay, looks like, we're going to continue with what we did last week to the town manager, or we feel that this could change, or this must tighten up, or this might relax, and it's our the Board of Health's recommendation is that we can now have in-person meetings up to 12 people, or up to 10 people, or up to 20 people, or now the numbers are going up. We feel that it's important to keep, and it's just a weekly status report, our recommendation for the week for how we should do business in the town hall. Has anything changed? If nothing changes, Matt, then just say, we think, steady the course, we're doing great. Or if something, the numbers go up or the numbers go down, we should make a recommendation to the town manager. He's gonna make the call, but it's our recommendation, your recommendation through Paul.
And I think the next time that change will probably happen will be March 22nd, where the state is looking to relax. We're moving into phase 4. Not all the guidance has come out yet. Some of the guidance has come out. I'm expecting more.
Not the state. I'm talking about what we think every week, at the end of the week, what is best for Foxborough by Foxborough, not when the state changes. If we say, and if our numbers are high and the state says, we can relax everything and have indoor dining, you know, maybe that's not the right thing for us. But again, I'm just saying
we're on the down. I'm just talking about the downward turn, and we can be more stringent. We just can't be less stringent in the state, and that's
right. But I'm saying I would like you to make a recommendation to the town manager every week. You know, and then I'm just saying, you know, for what's best for our town, not what the state's doing, but what's best for our town. We think the town hall, the town, you know, can we have Founders Day? You know, where that's going to be, you don't know about Founders Day, but, you know, say, hey, our recommendation is that we don't have Founders Day, you know, or we do have Founders Day, or here you know, that'll come up later. But, you know, little things like that, you know, make a recommendation, you know, how we think based on the COVID numbers, you know, and I think it's important to have Paul take a look at it and then just give it to the town manager. He's going to do what he's going to do anyhow, but, you know, make a recommendation for the record, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
All right. Sorry about that.
Betsy, what do you got?
Nothing for me.
You look like you're dying to say something.
Huh?
You look like you're dying to say something.
No. No.
John, anything interesting?
No, just plugging away. I think Matt's filled you in on the stuff I've worked on.
Yep, I think we're all up to speed. Feels like we've been in this meeting for about 4 hours. No, I'm sorry. All right. Well,
anything else? When's our next meeting, Diane? Sorry. Okay, next meeting.
I think it's the end of the month in 2 weeks.
All right, 2 weeks.
29th,
right.
I think.
Okay, sounds good. Is there anything else, Mr. Chairman? Because if not, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, and I can second that motion.
Excellent. Anything? Going once, going twice? All in favor of calling it a night?
Aye.
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 Thank you, everybody.
All right, thanks.
Bye, guys. Have a good night.
Bye, everyone.